Yes.
Okay. All right. So we can get going. It's a subcommittee meeting. So there's no, no technical requirements under the MLUL. So what I'd like to do is just kind of get everybody up to speed on where we are and where we need to go. We have, and it's been distributed now, the environmental resource inventory that was provided to us by the Environmental Commission. We've had previous drafts of this and other environmental reports that we've added to our conservation element of the master plan.
Right.
So now that we have the document, Jen's going to take a look at it just to go in and make sure that it's consistent with other things that we've said and other elements, and make sure that there's
Caitlin,
nothing that
come and
we've
get
said
the
or
bread.
done that's,
Really? Because she's taking the bread off the counter.
that's completely inconsistent with what we've been doing. So I would say, to the extent, I know, John, we just talked about it, to the extent everyone else can kind of peruse the document, Jen will be able to, at our next meeting, advise on whether we need to modify it, how we integrate it. Because, I mean, the elements are written, the master plan's a written document, and it has different sections that we call elements. So having this report, we can't just say it's part of the master plan. It has to be integrated, in a manner that makes it flow. And like I said, we just want to just double check it to make sure there's nothing in there that's inconsistent with our understanding of the environmental features that the town has, or whether it's missing something. We may say, hey, it missed this in this particular section of town, and we'd like to include it. So to the extent that anyone's got any comments, proposals, or things that need to be deleted or added, you can email Jen, you could give her a call, but she's going to be working between now and the next meeting to verify consistency and how to sort of physically integrate it into the document so that it flows well. Secondly, Township Council had a big night. They have now given us a budget to do the circulation element of the master plan. So we don't have anything on that right now. We're sort of starting from our base. Jen, do you want to kind of explain what the process would be for you to put together a draft for everyone to take a look at, and information that may be useful that we could get from the subcommittee members?
You're muted.
Jen, you're muted.
Sorry. It's a pretty significant undertaking for a community of this size to look into the circulation element. So first, what we're going to do is do kind of like a data search through the county and DOT documentation as to any kind of change in the classification on their end of any roadway in town versus what we have from 1994, which was the last time the town did their circulation element. So I would venture to guess that things obviously have changed over the course of the past 30 years. So, we would evaluate all of that. We're going to look into specific locations in town to see how the circulation pattern's working, the pedestrian network, and where there's gaps that we think need to be completed, as well as any kind of like bike type network. And then, we're going to put together a series of goals and objectives, looking at not just like what was done in 1994, but the documentation that's been evaluated since then to see if anything is relevant with respect to circulation. And then we'll put a draft together. I will say that this document is probably not going to be completed in draft form until the fall at the earliest. We need to incorporate evaluation of the road network, in the summer months when people are heading towards, the beach, as well as, in September when hopefully all the schools are full occupancy back in action, to really get a good idea of the trouble spots, which I'm sure you guys will be helpful in identifying, particular sections of town that would benefit from a little bit more thorough analysis. I'll put together a draft document for the committee to evaluate first, incorporate any comments, questions, and then we would put it out in a draft form to the planning board for comments, questions, and then we would have a public hearing on it at some point in the fall. So we just literally got authorized to do this, last week, I think. And so we're kind of in the process of gearing up to start.
And I think though, while, the comprehensive draft comes out in the fall, Jen and I will be keeping everyone aware of the progress and what we've been looking at these meetings. So you're not just waiting several months, you're understanding what it is particularly that we're looking at any particular point in time. And then, we can get and elicit from you guys some comments on, more particularized areas as we're going through them. And I think, Jen, also, one of the things that we probably need to take a look at is, the county and the state have a lot of documents.
Right,
with
that's kind
regard
of have to
the
go through
county.
all that.
Yeah. So, but as Jen said, it's a substantial undertaking. But, we were successful in convincing the town, persuading them that, we can't really move forward with a 30-year-old circulation element, considering, what's gone on in the past 30 years in the municipality. But I just want to be very clear that, everyone's going to be getting updates as we're going along, for the document, because we don't want it, we don't want to give you this huge document at the end of the day and you're seeing for the first time, what our thoughts are. So, it's going to be very important as we go through to elicit, comments from each of you.
Yeah. Jen, the only thing I would add is, obviously, we're going to look at our sign network. I guess there's some new laws with the signage, sizes, name of streets, that'll be looked at. As well as when I was on the council, one of my goals was to go to the LED lighting for the street lights. And back then, there was an issue with getting the funding. But I think I was told that if it was incorporated in your master plan, it's a lot easier to get approval from BPU and the state. So we definitely want to look at our lighting as well, see if we could convert to LEDs for our street lights.
Okay.
That's all I think I got.
So sort of on the kickoff, do you have anything, John, from your travels around town that you think we should be just generally focusing on?
Well, as far as Jennifer's concerned, or Rob or Paul, what parts of town are we concerned with the most right now? Like, I know 547 corridor, coming out of Ramtown, is a major problem in the mornings, mid-afternoons, and early evenings, heading up to Route 9 through Miller and Maximum Southern, that kind of stuff. And then, Route 9 itself, north and south.
I don't want you to misinterpret what this document is. Like, we can identify like locations for congestion, but we're not like gonna widen the road to solve the problem. It's just identifying, right? It's just kind of identifying where they are, looking to see what classification we have for those roads currently, and whether the volume now on the road would justify increasing the classification, which, as if development applications come before you or the zoning board and they need to give us right of way, it's a good idea to have the right classification to make sure we're getting the right widths from any potential developers moving forward. So yeah.
Sure.
And John, don't forget, some of those roads are county roads, like 547. So
Right.
We'll have less say on the county roads. But I could tell you that what we did was we negotiated with the county to swap roads. So for example, Oak Glen and Aldridge, where we thought it was easier for us to snowplow and control the roads, where Pop Warner plays. That's actually a county road.
Sure.
And we asked them to take that road over. We asked them to take that road over, give it to the township, and we would swap with like Aldridge Road, make it Aldridge a county road. So there's things like that we could also look into on the circulation plan.
Okay.
All right, but definitely, between now and the next meeting, Jen will have, something substantive on the environmental resource inventory portion of that. So that's the first one, that we're going to be able to get out the door. But, we want to just make sure everyone is up to speed as we sort of go on the more complex, path of the circulation.
Yeah. Now, if if we were to make a recommendation to the planning board of changing a road, like a circulation of a road, right?
Mhm.
Then that would affect eventually the zoning on that road.
No,
Correct?
so what I would say, and this is what I had said when I appeared before the governing body, is that first we need like the foundation, right? If you're building a house, let's say you put the foundation, this is the foundation to understand, you know, and I'm sure you guys all know in the back of your mind, like the highly traveled roads in town. And I'm not talking like 33 and Route 9. I'm talking about the other, you know, local roads that are kind of off the beaten path that are becoming either developed, right? And then from that, the council, you know, would look into potentially what the zoning is on those roads and then can modify if they want to what the zoning is. So, you know, what I would say is on the opposite side of things, for example, you know, we've seen an uptick in applications for warehousing, right? We have a number of them that are pending. And then some of the locations that are currently zoned SED, which historically were really just, you know, like storage type facilities, are really not appropriate for tractor trailer traffic. Like a Vanderveer Road, for example, is not really the greatest road that, you know, a tractor trailer would have a very difficult time navigating through Vanderveer Road, especially in the one direction where you have that big 90-degree turn. So, you know, basically this is going to give the foundation from which recommendations for modifications to the zoning can be made, but it doesn't change the zoning. We would just recommend it and the governing body would then have to decide what they want to do.
All right.
But this would certainly be, you know, the inspiration for that. The fact that we've just recently looked at it. The zoning in town is supposed to be substantially consistent with the master plan. And, you know, if we come out with a document, and this is the town's policy document for future growth, that, as Jen said, look, trailer traffic is not appropriate in certain areas. That's what the governing body needs in order to swing into action to do the zoning. So we're providing them with the information and the ammunition that they need to get their part of it done, but they need to base it on what's in this document. So we got to give them the tools that are required in order to get the new ordinances adopted.
All right.
All right, so you guys got any questions?
I got nothing else.
Okay, so like I said, next meeting, we'll have some kind of draft of the environmental resource getting integrated with the conservation element. You know, anything between now and then, if you want to reach out to Jen or I, everyone's welcome to do that. You know, if something, you know, pops into your head, we'll give you a document ahead of that meeting to take a look at for the environmental resource inventory, and we'll go from there.
Sounds good.
All right. So then
All right.
we'll see you at the next meeting.
You enjoy your next meeting.
Hi, guys.
Okay,
See ya.
bye.
Night.
Uh,